Okay, Bear County, we're live as these severe thunderstorms approach the area. Currently, they're just starting to enter the Bear County northwestern area. The squall line we were talking about earlier, I'm sorry, the outflow boundary that we are talking about earlier has just passed the Stone Oak area and moving towards 1604 rapidly. You can see it right here on the screen as that outflow boundary continues to push to the southeast. Excuse me, I'm still recovering from a cold, so I apologize for my voice in advance. The severe thunderstorm warning that we have in effect, I'm going to put this on hold here, is in effect till 12 midnight for up to 1 inch hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. One thing I have noticed, and it seems to happen every time the storms approach, is the overall intensity has seemed to diminish just a tad. That's not to say that the rain's going to just stop as it gets close, but it's just letting you know that some of this officially original intensity has started to diminish just a tad. The coverage looks to be maintaining overall the same threshold. So we continue to monitor that. This severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for this general area right here expires in 31 minutes. If we zoom out just a little bit more, you can see that these severe thunderstorm warnings go all the way through Austin and into nearly the Killeen area, where they were reporting some pretty hefty winds. As this particular bow right here, this outline right here that I'm showing you, was passing through the area. Some pretty good winds were being reported in that area of the state. Here, closer to us, I'm not seeing that bow, but I am seeing the fact that we still have this severe thunderstorm warning until 6. I'm sorry, till 12. And just trying to see if we could push some stuff going on. Let me look at, so you can see clearly. Here's the outflow boundary that we were talking about. It just passed through where I live, and it was brief gusty winds. But that'll obviously start to change with some heavy rain, perhaps some small hail up to a quarter size hail, maybe even just a little larger. In fact, let me bring up bear with me for 1 second. Let me bring up the maximum estimated hail size. This is what the radar believes is the hail that's out there. I'm going to get rid of this particular messaging right here so we can see that right at the tip, right at the corner. The radar is estimating up to 1.5 inch hail, a pocket of 1.5 inch hail, just to the, I say, northwest of Elotes, but it's right there at the corner. And then some scattered hail of almost 1 inch to the west, and then just bits of isolated hail amounts of less than 1/2 inch. So it looks like this guy right here, this pocket, we'll continue to watch. I'm going to see if I can put it in motion and see if we can see in general the way it's evolving as it moves. It looks like it's moving towards a southeast direction. So area is around the I-10 corridor, so maybe up to maybe I-10, I'm sorry, 1604 and I-10. If you're in this general area, Gray Forest, Shavano Park, just keep an eye that there may be some potential hail activity. If you have your vehicles outside, probably a good idea to put them under cover or in a garage. Let's go back to Red's reflectivity, and you can continue to see that this line continues to push to the southeast. I'm going to bring up velocity, and actually let me bring up base velocity, non-aliased. So this is basically what the winds are doing in the actual system. Anything red is winds that are exiting or leaving the radar. Anything green is winds that are incoming towards the radar. And these wind gusts are basically at higher than the surface level. So it'll take about 10 to 15 mile an hour wind from what you're seeing here, say the 56. So we're looking at maybe 40, 41, 45 mile an hour winds, maybe at the surface. Since this line is continuing to move to the southeast, this is why we're expecting potentially up to 60 mile an hour winds as this line moves through. So let me go back to reflectivity. You can continue to see that this line continues to push to the southeast. I'm going to put that in motion. And while I do that, So let's get some feedback here. So raining pretty hard there in Canyon Lake. So we'll get this one here. Is asked. I totally get what you're saying there, Elia. I can't even say the county sometimes. Atacosa, gonna get hail and strong wind. It looks like it may hold together as it pushes towards the southeast. In fact, let me check really quick. You are under, as in Atacosas County is under a severe thunderstorm watch till 3 a.m. So the potential for any kind of hail or strong winds and so forth is definitely possible for areas surrounding Bear County. So anywhere you're seeing the red around here, you're under severe thunderstorm watch till 3 a.m. for, again, large hail possible and gusty winds. So if you're in those areas, make those necessary preparations. So let's go back. Let me turn off the severe watches and let's just kind of bring this in closer and close this up a little bit. So we're starting to see the leading edge of the storm is starting to approach Leon Springs and Elotes, seeing some minor shower activity towards the Timberwood Park Stone Oak area. Here's the, I'm sorry, zoomed out a little bit too quick there. Here's the squall, I mean the outflow boundary as it now has passed Elotes, heading towards Shavano Park and about to head towards the Garden Ridge area. But I can definitely see, which is possibly a good thing, that the intensity in general has dropped, um, which means we're probably going to hopefully get some rain and not so much the damaging winds and hail. That's not to say that you may not get that. I'm just saying that it looks like that's what it looks like. Let's bring up, since we're talking about rain, let's bring up the precipitation rate. That's basically what the radar feels or thinks the rain amounts are falling within this cluster of storms. So we're looking at rainfall rates of 4, 3, up to almost 5 inches per hour. Now, keep in mind these storms are moving pretty quickly, so it doesn't mean that while these pockets of blue are going over your house, you're going to get 3 to 4 or 5 inches of rain. It just means that it's raining pretty decent with these pockets that we could get some pretty good rain out of this. If I were to go ahead and move out back a little bit, I'm going to see if I can get a QPE, a 1 hour QPE to kind of get an idea of what kind of rainfall has been falling past, to our north. It looks like an average of 1 to 1.5 inches. So this is with this particular cluster of storms that are moving towards the southeast. So as you can see, while we're getting some pretty good rainfall rates per hour, we're not getting a lot of rain in terms of overall total. But at the moment, we'll take anything we can get. There's just, given the drought situation, we'll take whatever we can get there. So let me bring that reflectivity again, just to give us a closer look. Again, here's the actual boundary right here, outflow boundary right here. Got a report from Twitter, not monitoring Twitter. So if you happen to be watching here, feel free to leave comments here in this particular live stream, and I'll be able to see them and relay them to the others. But I believe I saw Bernie report saying it was pretty heavy rains, but not a lot of like hail or anything major like that. One thing we were noticing before, and I'm going to bring this up, this might get a little bit psychedelic on y'all, but we were looking at some pretty good lightning back when the storms were up there by Fredericksburg and Kerrville. Looks like the lightning in general has kind of simmered down a little bit. There's still out some pretty good lightning out there, but not as much as it was earlier. Um, but again, that's not to say, hopefully, that as the storms approach, that they're going to weaken. So, I mean, they may show some weakening, but hopefully they stay together to the point where we can all of us can benefit from some rain. So I'm going to try something new. I mean, feel free to ask. Like I said, I can see your questions here. So if you have any questions, I can do my best to try to answer. We have this potential last bit of storm activity before we start coming into a more dry and a stable regime and weather. So this is essentially for this week, this is pretty much our last chance for any kind of meaningful rainfall. I did want to bring up, now that we're here, we did have a potential for rain last night. Unfortunately, as you may have saw our tweet, the Mother Nature will do whatever she wants in regards to weather, and unfortunately, the focus of that was to our south. The reason we have a better confidence that this rain and storms are heading our way is that we actually have a focus mechanism, which is the actual front. The front is being the actual lift. Last night, we didn't really have that kind of a mechanism in place, so it's really hard to tell where and who was going to get the rainfall. So, anytime we have the potential, all the ingredients are there, but we don't have a general pinpoint of where the lift, in this particular case for last night, is going to be. You do your best to say, hey, we're probably going to get some rain, maybe some storms. Some of it could be severe, just to kind of say an all-out warning out there. But we can't definitely say it's going to rain at your house or it's going to rain in Bear County, especially if there's not a defined lifting mechanism like we do tonight. So no doubt this outflow boundary that we see here is helping to provide some of that lift and additional development. And you can kind of see the entire line as it continues to move to the southeast. We have some additional activity down here. So if you have friends and family just north of Alfurious, I believe this is going to be Alice, anywhere near Alice or Beeville. And apparently this activity is also moving towards the east. So if you have friends and family in the actual Corpus area as well, or Beeville, again, you might want to let them know that there's some potential severe weather in that general area, or just storms in this case. If you have somebody by Encinal, it looks like we have a severe thunderstorm warning here as well. So, some sporadic severe thunderstorm warnings down, severe storms down here, but most of it, what we're looking at here is the severe thunderstorm line that's moving through Bear County at this point. So let's zoom in a little bit more. So Leon Springs, you're about to get some pretty good rain and maybe some gusty winds and lightning. Great Forest, Elotes, looks like you're going to get some pretty good rain in the next couple of minutes or so. Stone Oak and Timberworth Park, you're starting to maybe get some sprinkles as well. But we continue to see that the storms are starting to continue to move to the southeast. Put that in motion again. Let's see if I can get you. It's just the way it's aligned. It's kind of weird. So it's a little messy, but you can kind of see the general um, uh, timing of where these storms will potentially affect. It's already 11:40, so we're looking at Live Oak, Universal City, and Schertz and Converse, where these storms will start to affect those areas as the activity continues to push to the southeast. Again, it's starting to look like the activity in general is starting to weaken in terms of intensity. I'm going to, just for fun, bring up the hail icons. Those are usually a good indicator of any potential hail out there without having to go and switch into a different hail product. And I can see that it's not really pinpointing any hail issues. Lightning, again, is a good indicator of severity or at least intensity. And again, we are not seeing as much lightning as we were seeing earlier, but we still see a general good structure of rain. So that is a good deal here. Let me look at again. Let's bring up the mean. So again, we have these estimated hail sizes again. So if you're, or let's see here, let's bring this up. So you may be seeing some small hail here. It looks like by Camp Bullis, northern areas of Camp Bullis. Um, Seeing maybe potential some up to 3/10 of an inch of hail just to the north of Great Forest. Over here by 16 and 211, you may be seeing maybe up to a half inch of hail. So this is generally small hail at this point. Heaviest activities on the west side, outside our county jurisdiction, and just riding the left border, where we're seeing potentially up to a half an inch, a little bit more than that. So it looks like the storm activity has generally weakened in terms of severity, but in terms of actual coverage and um, just overall function, it's still coming in. So again, Leon Springs, you're getting pretty good, starting to get some pretty good dowsings. Great Forest, Elotus, heads up, headed your way. Timberwood Park starting to get some of that action. Stone Oak's going to start seeing some of that as well. We're hoping that everybody gets a good glimpse of this the rain as it continues to push to the southeast. Um, we all need it, not just certain areas. But it looks like at this point, the actual line is holding together. Uh, but it looks like the actual severity at this point is not much of an issue. There may be some, like I said, brief gusty winds, some small hail, but it looks like in general, the overall severe threat has weakened or diminished somewhat. If by chance you do come across some kind of wind damage or any kind of hail, whether it's pea size or anything more than that, if you see excessive rainfall, anything like that, and if it's safe to do so, make sure to tweet, take a picture, or take a photo or video, and tweet to EWX Spotter, the hashtag, and that gets looked at by the National Weather Service. So that really helps them validate and verify the information they're seeing on radar. They can then equate and see that, hey, it's actually potentially, um, hailing in Timberwood Park, and you can definitely help them out and say, yeah, if there's pea-size hail or quarter-size hail or whatever you happen to witness, it helps them to validate and verify whatever they're seeing on radar versus what's actually on the ground. So if you happen to see any kind of hail, anything from pea size and up, feel free, and it's safe to do so. Feel free to take a picture. Now, obviously, if you know how to measure hail, put something of constant size next to it. So, like a quarter or a nickel, when you take a picture, so you can give a valid reference and submit that using the EWX spotter hashtag. And that'll definitely help the National Weather Service get the information and validation that they need. Again, we are still under a severe thunderstorm warning for the northern areas of Bexar County. I stopped it here so you can kind of see it, but I definitely don't see. Excuse me, I'm going to mute my mic for 1 second as a cough is about to come in real quick. Stand by. Sorry about that. But I definitely don't see any potential severity. There could be some gusty winds and again small hail, but I do not see any potential severeness with this activity. It looks like this is just going to end up being some heavy rain. So given that, what we're looking at now, while we do still have a severe thunderstorm warning officially until, let me bring that up, till 12, I believe, till 12 a.m. What we're going to do is going to go ahead and end the live. Unless y'all have any questions, feel free to type them in. We'll definitely try to answer for you. But we're going to go ahead and end the live, and we'll continue this using the Twitter coverage. But at this point, we're getting some pretty good rain where I'm at, but I'm not seeing anything worse or any kind of hail or any kind of wind that I'm aware of that's causing some issues. Again, this is in effect till 12 midnight. So for now, we're going to just go ahead and continue to use the Twitter format to continue this coverage. If, however, anything changes, we'll definitely come back. Thank you for your support and for tuning in, and we'll see you online.
You're watching Bexar County Severe Weather Live.